All right, how's it going? So here we're going to go ahead and take a look at pistol offense, and we're going to keep it nice and simple. Just go through the basic rules. We want to make sure we're understanding everybody's roles at all times, so that way when the defense adjusts and starts to take some things away, we know what we're supposed to be doing. So in the event that they do still take away what we're trying to do, we understand how to break those rules or how we might break those rules. So like I said, this video is just going to be mainly focused on the basic stuff, not anything too intricate. So let's go ahead and start off by actually watching the play here. I'll go ahead and play it, and what you'll see, so the one comes down here, and it's going to be known as the chase. So that's the very first action, going straight to a layup. We're resetting the one just to show you what the next thing would do. So if that gets taken away, he gets that dribble handoff, goes to the corner, the 5 comes down and sets a flare screen, then does 2-man action with the one in the corner. If that's not there, we got the pass to the 3 for the to the top of the key for the 3, and then we got the weak side action going on. Like I said, we'll break it down a little bit more, and then come back to this so that way we can see it again and see what it looks like in the end once we understand each action. So let's go on to the next thing. All right, so let's start off by understanding terminology, right? So we've got what's known as the chase or the chase man, however you want to look at it. In this situation, is going to be the ball handler who will be bringing in the ball. And pretty much it's called the chase because he's going to be passing the ball and then chasing it and coming around the corner right here. All right, so that's the chase. Now, with that comes the button hook. Now, the button hook is going to be what the other wing is going to be doing when he comes here. All right, so that's the button hook right there. Now, on this side, we're going to go ahead and talk about a flare screen, which is what the 5 is setting here for the 2 in this case. All right, and the 2's popping up here. Now, we're identifying the numbers just to make it a little bit easier for you guys, but of course, any position can end up doing any of these roles. But like I said, so this right here is a flare screen, allows them to flare out and be available here for the 3. After that, we're going to talk about 2-man game. I'm not going to go too into depth in 2-man game because there's so much to it. But I think you guys kind of understand the very basic of it is going to be just an on-ball screen and everything, and then so much more can happen off of that. Let's see what we will talk about. And then, of course, we're going to address the weak side, what it is that we're going to be doing here. And then we've got what's off-ball 2-man game, where this man, the 4 in this case, and the 3, right? So he'll be coming down to set a screen. And then if you notice, you see the 3 kind of dig in a little bit just to go ahead and give himself. And we want to specifically have him come up here to the elbow. So it actually still leaves the lane open and everything like that. So he comes up to the elbow. If it's open, he's got a 3 right here. If not, we've got him screening and then rolling just like that. And again, like I said, 2-man game right there. And that's pretty much going to be the overall. Now let's go ahead and get started with the very beginning of the play and everything. So at the beginning, we're going to have as if we've now gotten the rebound and we're heading out this way. Let's go ahead and assign who's going to be what just to make it easier. Let's say the ball handler has the ball here. We've got the 3, let's say the 2's here, the 4, and then the 5 is the one that rebounded and gave the ball to the 1. So he's the trail man, right? So as we see, we want the 3 and the 2 to go ahead and start sprinting down here. And then as the 1 comes through, he's going to identify whether he wants to go left or if he wants to go right. In this case, we're going to go ahead and make it simple. So he's going to go right. So the 1's this way. Now, why that's important is because the 3 and the 2 are going to be identifying which side he's on. Depending on which side the 1 is on, the ball handler is going to determine whether you're weak side action or whether you're strong side action. So let's go ahead and erase this real quick. All right, so let's set them up as we had them. So we have the 2 come down here. The 3 has now identified as the strong side, and then we got the weak side over here with the 2. We're going to go ahead and put the 4 with the 2. The 5, like I said, is going to be the trail man back here. And then the 1 is the one that's bringing up the ball, right? So we got the 1 right here. So the 3 is going to go ahead and do what's known as the button hook. Now, the button hook, like I was saying, it's literally you're going to turn right here, catch the ball, and hand it off to the chase man. Dribble handoff right here. That is the very first thing. So DHO, dribble handoff. to the 1, and that's going to be the very first part of the pistol offense. So now let's go ahead and set everybody. Let's say the 5 has already gotten to his spot. The button hook has been set by the 3, but this time the ball handler doesn't actually end up being able to penetrate into the defense. Let's say maybe it's because they adjusted, maybe they switched correctly, whatever the case is, right? So the 1 will actually be bringing up the ball just a little bit here. So we'll have the 1 here now. And I'm just going to erase this to make things easier. Now, once this has happened, the next thing we're going to be doing is the 5 is going to come down and set what's known as the flare screen, right? Flare. Now the 3 is going to, as the name says it, flare out. Oh, sorry about that. So the 5 is here setting that screen. The 3 is going to go ahead and flare out to the 3. Now, 2 things can happen. We're going to address what happens if the 3 gets the ball next. Let's first talk about what happens very next thing. So after the 5 has set the screen here, once he's cleared from that screen, we don't want to end up getting moving screen called on us. So once he has cleared from that screen, he's going to come down here and set an on-ball screen for the 1. And then this right here is what we're going to be going into with the 2-man game. Now, there's a lot that goes into 2-man game. It's very fundamental. But at the same time, you got to make sure that you understand how the 2-man games, how to, so on and so forth. So we're not going to go deep into the 2-man game. We're just going to talk about what it is that this offense wants out of it, right? So the 5 has come here. He's now setting the screen here. And let's say that we get the very first option, perfect screen, and then, you know, good to go for the basket. If that doesn't happen, then, of course, in 2-man game rules, we've got the 5 who's going to either roll or pop. In this situation, we're going to have him roll. So the screen's not there for whatever reason. He rolls, and we got to hit the roller here on this end. All right. So we got the 1 out here. Let's go back to right after he has set the screen for the 3, right? So he's come down here. He has now set the screen. 3 has flared out. So back to that step. And comes down here. He sets it, but this passes here, whether it's right before he sets it, maybe the 1 sees that right after he sets this screen, this is wide open, whatever the case is, right? Let's say this is open here, and in that case, then of course, he shoots the ball. Now, let's say he misses, or not misses, let's say he doesn't take the shot, whether it's a bad pass, whether he handles the ball wrong, or the defense recovers, and the shot just isn't there. So we've got, again, the 3 here, the 1 here, let's say the 5 is already setting the screen here. Now, the 3 has the ball, right? Doesn't take the shot for whatever reason. That, as soon as this pass is made, on the flight of the ball, not once it's caught at the 3, but on the flight of the ball, the path of the ball, is when we want the 4 to come down here. As the 2 digs down slightly, he comes down here, he sets the screen on the 2-man, and you're going to sprint to the elbow right here. You're going to sprint out there. All right, and it's very important for you to go ahead and, like I had said here, we want you to kind of dig a little bit and then come right back out. So that way it kind of sets your man up for this screen that's coming in, right? And hopefully we get some kind of confusion going on here between the defenders. So let's say this has happened. Oh, apologies. We've got the 2 here with the ball. The 4 has just finished setting his screen. This has already happened. We've got the ball here at the 3. And as this is happening, oh, you know what, that's fine. The 5 has set it, and we go ahead and get the 1 after he gets this ball. Because he no longer has the ball, right? So it's an off-ball screen. He sets back up here. This is dependent on what it is that your coach wants to do, but we're acting as if that's exactly what the coach wants us to do in this situation, right? So the 2 has now gotten the ball from the 3, and normally this is going to be a wide open shot right here, so we take the shot. But let's say the shot's not there. What we have the 4 doing right after he sets this screen here is he's going to roll. Again, 2-man game, right? Nice and simple. Now this one, again, if the shot's not here for whatever reason, then he just goes ahead and drops it down to him. So that's pretty much how the whole entire thing works out. And I mean, it's fairly simple from that. Like I had said, the biggest thing is going to be the very first thing, which is the button hook to the chase man. All right, and then after that, we're going to go ahead and have the, what is it called? Whoever the trail man is, setting, I don't know why I did that, setting the screen right here for the button hook. So he kicks out here, That's the flare screen, in case it's available. That's an open 3. As soon as that, remember, like I said, on the flight of the ball, okay? On the flight of the ball is when we go straight into the weak side. So go ahead and dig a little bit, set that screen, sprint, end up right here at the elbow. Ball comes to the elbow, the shot's there. If it's not, then we hit the roll, man. That simple. These are the basic rules, like I was saying. There's a lot that comes out of it. There's a lot of changes you can make. And, of course, like I said, once you begin to understand the basics and the fundamentals of it, you'll be able to adjust as the defense adjusts to see whether we have different options. Like, for example, a lot of what we're doing is just having them, roll, right? Let's say in this situation, it was the 5 and the 4. They're just rolling through, but that's not always the only option. They can always pop, of course. You can always come this way if maybe that's your man's game a little bit better. But whatever the case is, you also have the pop, which is the most basic of the adjustment in this. And then, of course, you've got, like, for example, if we catch the ball here at the elbow and it's wide open for us, then we can do this way. And then once we do that, we've got the 5 here. We've got the 4, whether he's rolling or whether he's popping, whatever the case is. So, like I said, once you understand the basics and the fundamentals and the rules that goes to it, you can kind of start adjusting around it. The only thing that I will say is this button hook, whether it's on this side or on this side, to the chase man is pretty much not an option. Whether it's the chase man coming this way, the only option from it is either he attacks the basket or he goes ahead and not really resets, but he begins the rest of the play and everything like that. So that's the only part of it that's not really much of an option. It's two-man game off the button hook right off the bat into either coming out here or attacking the basket. Other than that, everything else, like I said, it's just going to be up to your coach what it is that we want to do. And depending on how much you understand the play and your defense and everything. So let's go ahead and look at some examples. All right, so we're going to use Hoop University to go ahead and show the examples of how the NBA runs it and everything like that. It's a great channel, by the way. If you ever want to understand concepts or just want to see repetitive play after play so you can start to see how it develops, this is a great channel to look at. So let's look at the chase again. Like I was saying, we got the button hook here where you see the HO, the handoff. So button hook has happened, ball has already happened, and then we've got the chase coming downhill, right? Full sprint and everything like that. He's able to take advantage of it. And this is just the chase, man. So this is the very first action. Button hook, dribble handoff, chase man, attack the basket. Button hook. And then, like I said, right, there are different options, but the exception is not the exception. You have to get that ball. You have to use pretty much the beginning of it, whether it's a handoff to get you attacking, or if you end up having Curry on the ball, then of course he's always an exception to the rule. So do remember that. But the biggest thing is understanding the dribble handoff coming off of that. See, there's so much more that comes out of it. It's just you want to make sure you're understanding the rules to it also. Button, or in this case, it was just a regular, but dribble handoff, it gets stopped right there. So what they end up doing is just going straight into a regular, two-man game. Which, like I said, two-man game is a big part of the game. So dribble handoff, it stopped right there with the defense. We got the flare skin that's not quite set the same. They just run it a little bit different here, but there's so much more that goes into the offense. But the biggest thing is going to be that, I guess you could say button hook, not necessarily, but button hook that goes into the handoff, the dribble handoff. We want to get that chase man like running downhill full sprint. It gets you a lot better opportunity to score against the defense, and it forces them to really do something. See, there's, like I said, another thing. Oh yeah, so this is keep. We're not really going to talk about keep or anything like that, but it's as the name says it, right? So we got the man keeping the ball there. Let's go on to the next step that we had talked about. How I was saying that there's no real exception to this. Like you want to make sure that we've got the button hook going on and the dribble handoff action and everything. So it's about understanding the basics of it, right? But you can get the situation where the button hook is happening and you're just in the situation where you're better off just setting the on-ball screen. So instead of kicking the ball to the 3, we just dribble using it, and it's still kind of like the chase man and everything like that. But in this situation, he ends up setting that on-ball screen and everything like that to get it going. So there is that. to it, and then let's talk about another option that can actually happen as well. So what I've seen, at least at the high school level, some of the videos that I saw them running, instead of just having, so we got the button hook that happens here, we've got this stop that gets stopped and everything like that. And like I had said, right, we've got the chase man coming down and setting a flare screen. So what I'm seeing, instead of that flare screen happening, I'm seeing them immediately go into pretty much like zoom action, more or less, where you've got this screener coming here and then this screener coming here. And then we've got the roller here, with the 5 being the roller. So there's different little things to it, but like I said, this is just one of the ways that it's ran, and pretty much just addressing this pass right here is it's available. But if you're not a 3-point shooting team, then maybe you don't end up running it with that, and instead you just go straight into zoom action, which is another thing that we can talk about in another video breakdown. So this here is the assistant coach for the Clippers, who's going ahead and breaking down what it is that we're doing after the chase action if the chase span is stopped. Oh, I keep doing that.
Fighting with our big. We button hook, we hit. Okay, hand back. Now, Alex doesn't have a layup, okay? He doesn't have a layup. He's got to keep his dribble. Okay, we're looking for flare screen right here to Chris. But Chris has to stop at the middle of the court because we got our spacing over here, which we'll show in a minute. So that's the first option, flare. As soon as Ryan sets that flare, he comes right into a low pick and roll, and Alex turns the corner, and we're rolling to the basket. Now let's cover the 3 options that we have. First option on any pick and roll is always for that guard to get to the basket. Layup, jump shot, floater. Second option would be, now I've turned a corner, and I look for my big rolling. Okay, if this is a shooter and not a great finisher, we would pop him. But for now, we're going to have Ryan roll. My third option is a drive and kick game where Chris's man helps, and I hit Chris for the jump shot. So we're going to go through those 3-on-0 options. First option, jump shot by Alex. Second option, we come off it. We hit Ryan for the layup. There's the jump shot. Nice job. All right, let's bring it back.
So the first one, just the jump
Let's
shot.
look at the second option, which would be to hit Ryan on the roll for the layup. Here we go. Let's run into it. Let's go. Run into it, Chris. Hit.
Button hook.
Good. Flare. Low. Roll. And the layup. There's your second option. Good. Let's bring it back now. Third option, we come off the low pick and roll. Okay. Don't have shot. Don't have roll. We would now advance it to Chris, and he's going to lift for a 3-point shot. Here we go. Good. Space up, drive and kick. There it is for the 3.
So now here we're looking at the weak side action of what goes on, like how we were saying, on the back end and everything. So these two guys, in my example, it was, if I remember correctly, this was the 2 and this was the 4 or whatever. And like I said, this is just to help you guys understand what it is that's going on. We've got the 2 that's going to come down here after the 2, or the 2's going to dig in, 4's going to come down, and then of course we're going to have a pop right here for the jump shot to begin with. That's the very first step in the weak side action. Let me get a, sorry about that, guys. It's my first time using this one. Just like that, you see him go down, set that screen, comes off of it for wide open right there at the elbow. All right, the next one that we're going to look at is going to be what happens if he doesn't have the shot, right? So again, remember, keep in mind the very first thing that we're doing right off the bat, passing the ball here after the button hook right here, hands off the ball, comes down here, the trail man comes down and sets that flare screen for this gentleman here. And then once that ball gets passed up here, sorry, there's too much going on now. Once the ball has now made it here or on the flight of the path, we're going to go ahead and have this man come down here as this man digs his man down, sets the screen, comes up here to the elbow. I believe this was 2 in our case. Let's say the shot's not there, so he's going to go ahead and hit the roller or pop, depending on what it is that you decide to do. But yeah, let's go ahead and watch them run it. Comes up, hits the top, digs down, comes off at the elbow, it's covered, wide open to the roller. And like I said, this is the basics of it. There's a lot more that goes into it and all that, but just to kind of help you. And by the way, if you want to watch this video, he does a heck of a job at explaining the whole thing. Just go ahead and look him up. His name is Dave. Or you could just look up pistol offense, and I think it's like the first video that's on here. But his name is Dave Severance from the Clippers. All right, thank you guys. All right, now that we've kind of learned the full thing, let's go ahead and watch it in action. And let's go ahead and slow it down a little bit so that way it's not too fast on us. And let's watch the progression go through. So we got the button hook, giving it to the chase man in this situation. Go ahead and get the layup. Let's reset it. And now we give it again to the button hook. But this time we keep our dribble alive, kind of pull it out a little bit. Got the flare screen for the 3. Then 2-man game with the 5 and the 1. If that's not there, for whatever reason the 3 is there, we got the 3-point from the center. If not, weak side action. Bam. Just like that, or the roller. It's nice and simple, guys. There's really not a whole lot to it. It's not, like I was saying, it's not that sophisticated, not that complicated. Of course, the numbers are going to change depending on what it is that your coach wants, who is where, and so on and so forth. But just, yeah, if you guys have any questions, just hit me up.